Okay, so let's unpack this. Imagine your body, right? Not just parts, but this whole meticulously designed, um, self-maintaining system,
Yeah.
built from the ground up.
Yeah, from the very basics.
Exactly. And today we're taking a real deep dive into two incredibly foundational bits of that design.
Mm-hmm.
First, those specialized internal surfaces that keep everything running smoothly. And second, that amazing, like, microscopic journey of how you were first assembled from just one cell.
Astonishing stuff.
Our mission, basically, to boil down these complex medical ideas into, crystal clear insights and give you some memorable anchors.
So you can actually recall it.
Right. So
Right.
by the end of this, you won't just grasp these critical building blocks. You'll understand them so well, you could, like, explain them to a 10-year-old easily.
And that's the key, isn't it? These aren't just random details from a textbook. They're the fundamental why behind almost every biological process, even pathologies, you'll come across.
Ah, okay.
Understanding these foundations, it's like getting a master key to unlock, well, the whole human body.
Gotcha. And to guide us, we've got a fascinating stack of sources here covering the intricate tissues of the body, internal surfaces, and that mind-blowing early journey, the pre-embryonic period and gastrulation.
Essential reading.
So get ready for some serious aha moments. Let's kick things off by looking at the body's incredibly diverse internal sort of linings and coatings.
Sounds good.
Okay, first, just a quick refresher on epithelia, that versatile lining tissue. Think of your body like a big multi-room building. Your skin, that's the tough exterior paint.
Right, the barrier.
But what about all the specialized wallpapers and tiles inside? In the kitchen, the bathroom, the ventilation shafts, that's your epithelium.
Covers everything, basically.
Yeah, it covers surfaces, lines, cavities, forms glands.
Yeah.
And we classify it by layers, simple, stratified, or pseudostratified.
Looks layered, but isn't.
Right. And also by cell shape. Squamous, those flat tiles, cuboidal, like cubes, columnar, tall columns, or transitional.
The stretchy one.
Exactly. Changes shape. And sometimes you get extra features, like keratin, which adds this incredible toughness, like a protective varnish.
Very important for wear and tear.
Okay, now let's zero in on two major types of these internal surfaces. Let's start with serous membranes. Picture the most luxurious, super smooth silk lining,
Nice analogy.
designed for organs that need to just glide effortlessly. That's a serous membrane.
And what's really fascinating is their location and design. They line closed body cavities, places where organs are constantly moving.
Like the heart.
Exactly. The heart in its pericardial sac, the lungs expanding in the pleural sacs, abdominal organs shifting within the peritoneum. Their whole job is to secrete a slippery, lubricating fluid.
Okay, so picture your heart beating constantly, or your lungs inflating. These membranes are like perfect nonstick coating, or oil in an engine.
That's a great way to put it. Ensures everything glides smoothly, no friction, no damage.
And structurally, what are they made of?
They're built from a specialized flat epithelium called mesothelium, supported by a basement membrane and connective tissue. But here's a key point. They don't have glands.
No glands. So how do they make the fluid?
The mesothelial cells themselves produce that lubricating fluid directly. That incredibly smooth surface does the work.
Wow, efficient. Okay, let's switch gears then. Let's talk about mucous membranes. These sound, well, different.
They are quite different. They line internal tubes that open to the outside world.
Ah, okay. Like
Yeah, your digestive tract, your respiratory passages, urinary system, reproductive tract. Think of them as the body's welcome mats, but also processing plants.
welcome mats and processing plants. I like that.
Yeah, and they're usually a bit more robust. Typically, you have the surface epithelium, a basement membrane, and then this underlying connective tissue layer called the lamina propria.
Okay.
And in some places, like the GI tract, you might even find an extra thin muscle layer, the muscularis mucosae, allows for little local movements.
And their jobs.
Hugely diverse. Depends entirely on where they are. Protection, secretion of mucus or enzymes, absorption of nutrients, lubrication, even excretion. The structure perfectly mirrors the function.
So it's like specialized wallpaper that changes depending on the room's job. Some tough, some absorbent, some making, well, goo.
Precisely. That goo mucus is often key for lubrication and protection.
Which really raises the question, doesn't it? How does the specific cell structure of these membranes match up so perfectly with what they need to do in different parts of the body?
That's the core principle right there, adaptation.
Let's take a trip then, down the GI tract, the culinary highway, It's basically a muscular tube lined by a mucous membrane, but that road surface changes dramatically.
Absolutely. Optimized for each step of digestion and absorption.
Generally, you've got four main layers. Mucosa inside, then submucosa, muscularis propria for the big muscle contractions, and the outer serosa or adventitia.
The standard gut tube plan.
Right. And the epithelium is mostly simple columnar from the stomach down, but with amazing specializations.
Let's start at the top.
Okay, the esophagus, our sturdy protective tunnel. Its lining, its non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium.
Like tough, wear-resistant tiles. Makes sense.
Exactly. Protects against abrasion from food going down. The submucosa underneath has elastic fibers, so it can stretch.
Accommodate that bolus of food.
And the muscle even changes. Starts as voluntary skeletal muscle at the top, so you control swallowing initially. Then transitions to involuntary smooth muscle lower down to finish the job automatically. It's like a strong, self-adjusting pipe.
And that specific lining, the squamous epithelium, is critical. Because when it gets damaged...
With chronic acid reflux.
Exactly. The body tries to adapt. It can undergo metaplasia. The squamous cells change into columnar cells, more like the stomach lining. That's Barrett's esophagus.
But the body's trying to protect itself from the acid.
Right. But paradoxically, that change, that adaptation, actually increases the risk of developing adenocarcinoma later on.
Wow. So a biological fix creates a new potential problem. That's a crucial insight.
It really is. Shows the trade-offs in adaptation.
Okay, next stop, the stomach. The mixing and secreting cauldron. Here, the lining switches to simple columnar epithelium.
Ready for chemical warfare.
Totally. And what defines it are the gastric glands, like tiny factories. Some cells make strong acid, others make thick mucus and bicarbonate to protect the wall,
Essential protection.
and others make enzymes like pepsin or hormones to regulate digestion. It's a chemical plant protected by its own slime.
A very effective design.
Moving into the small intestine, our superabsorbent sponge. This is where the action happens for nutrient uptake.
Maximum surface area is the name of the game here.
And how? You've got these large circular folds, the plica circularis, then finger-like villi sticking out, and then on each individual cell, tiny microscopic bristles called microvilli making that brush border.
It increases the surface area exponentially.
It's huge, like a super long ruffled carpet where every tiny bristle soaks up nutrients. It's built for absorption.
Yeah.
You've got specialized enterocytes, goblet cells for mucus, even tiny lymph vessels, lacteals for fat.
And it's not uniform, is it?
Not at all. The features change along its length. Villia get shorter. You find special Brunner's glands only in the duodenum to neutralize stomach acid, more immune tissue, like Peyer's patches, in the ileum.
More goblet cells further down, too.
Right. It adapts its service stations along the highway for specific jobs.
Very clever.
Finally, the large intestine, the water recovery and waste compacting zone. Focus shifts here.
No more villi.
No plaque or villi. But the simple columnar lining has tons of goblet cells in its crypts, making lots of mucin for lubrication.
Essential for moving waste along.
And the outer longitudinal muscle layer reorganizes into three distinct bands, the taniacoli.
Gives it that bunched up appearance.
Yeah. So think of this as the final sorting station, efficiently recovering water and electrolytes, compacting the waste. And right at the end, the anorectal junction, you get this abrupt but logical switch.
And simple columnar.
In the rectum.
Oh.
To non-keratinized stratified squamous in the anal canal for friction protection, which then blends into the proper keratinized skin outside. It all just flows logically based on function.
It's a beautiful example of structure meeting function throughout the entire tract.
Okay, let's just focus now. Upwards to the respiratory tract. The body's amazing air traffic control system. Warning, moistening, cleaning the air.
Before it hits the delicate gas exchange surfaces. Critical preparation.
And it's got two main parts, right? The conducting portion, just getting air in and out.
Nose, pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchi.
And the respiratory portion, where gas exchange actually occurs.
Respiratory bronchioles, alveolar ducts, alveoli themselves.
Now, in that conducting part, nasal cavity, trachea, bronchi, you find this amazing respiratory epithelium.
It's not just a simple lining, is it? It's dynamic. Pseudostratified, so it looks layered, ciliated columnar cells, tall cells with tiny hairs. The cilia.
And goblet cells making mucus.
Exactly. And together, they form the mucociliary escalator.
The what?
The mucociliary escalator. Imagine a microscopic conveyor belt. The sticky mucus traps dust, pollen, germs. And those cilia are constantly beating upwards, sweeping that mucus, loaded with debris, up and out of the lungs.
Like a living broom, Constantly cleaning.
Precisely. It's an active, self-cleaning system keeping your airways clear. Even the larynx has it, except the true vocal cords. They get non-keratinized, stratified squamous epithelium.
For protection against friction when you talk or sing. Makes sense.
Exactly. Wear and tear resistance.
Then we get down to the tiny air sacs, the alveoli. Millions of them, where the real gas exchange happens.
And here, the cell types change dramatically. You have type I pneumocytes, incredibly thin, flat epithelial cells making up most of the surface area, designed purely for gas exchange.
Thin is key.
Absolutely. And then you have type 2 pneumocytes. They're more cuboidal, and they make surfactant.
Surfactant, that prevents the sacs from collapsing, right?
Critically important. Reduces surface tension. And you also have macrophages in there, the dust cells, cleaning up anything that gets past the escalator.
So how thin is this barrier for gas exchange?
It's incredibly thin. The blood-air barrier is basically the type I cell membrane, the capillary endothelial cell membrane, and their fused basement membranes in between. Minimalist design.
So oxygen can just zip across.
Zip across into the red blood cells and CO2 zips out. It's unbelievably efficient. Any thickening there from disease dramatically impacts breathing.
Okay, one last internal surface. The urinary tract. The body's super stretchy, waterproof lining.
That's a good description. The ureter, bladder, and the first part of the urethra are lined by a unique epithelium, transitional epithelium, or urothelium.
Because it transitions shape.
Exactly. Its structure is quite special, several layers thick with large umbrella cells on the surface. The key thing is it's highly distensible. It can stretch hugely as the bladder fills.
Right.
And it's remarkably impermeable to water and urine solutes. Prevents urine from leaking back into the body tissues.
So it's like a super stretchy, waterproof balloon lining. Perfect for holding liquid without leaking or damage.
It perfectly highlights that principle again. Tissue design, exquisitely adapted to function. It allows the bladder to do its job. A masterclass in biological engineering.
Wow. Okay, from slippery linings to self-cleaning airways to waterproof bags, these internal surfaces are amazing. But now, let's shift gears completely.
Okay.
We've seen the incredible design of the body's architecture. Let's go right back to the origin. How does a single spark build this whole metropolis?
The journey of embryonic development, truly mind-blowing.
It starts with the pre-embryonic period, first 2 weeks basically.
Yeah.
Fertilization to implantation.
And this phase, often kind of rushed over, is incredibly complex and sets the stage for everything that follows.
It all kicks off with fertilization.
Yeah.
Ultimate race, right. And then fusion. Male and female gametes merge into one cell, the zygote.
And it really is a race. Hundreds of millions of sperm start, maybe only a few hundred reach the egg.
And even then, they're not ready immediately, are they? They need capacitation.
Right, that conditioning process in the female tract activates them, makes them capable of fertilizing.
So this whole initial event, this fusion, it's not just biology, it's foundational.
It's the singular moment that determines your unique genetic makeup. It restores the full set of 46 chromosomes, determines chromosomal sex, and kicks the egg into action for development. Everything starts here.
And how does the sperm actually get in? It's not easy, is it?
No, it's a 3-phase penetration. First, through the outer corona radiata cells using enzymes and just vigorous swimming.
Okay.
Second, it hits the zona pellucida. Special proteins there bind the sperm, triggering the acrosome reaction,
Which is?
a release of enzymes from the sperm's head that digest a path through the zona.
Like drilling through a wall.
Kind of. And finally, the membranes fuse, sperm and egg plasma membranes join. And that fusion instantly triggers the cortical or zona reaction.
The drawbridge moment.
Exactly. A rapid change in the zona pellucida that blocks other sperm. Polyspermy prevention, there can only be one. It really is like that microscopic space race to a guarded castle.
Incredible. So once fertilization happens, what's next for the zygote?
It immediately starts dividing rapidly. This is cleavage, all while it's traveling down the fallopian tube.
So it's dividing and moving.
Yep. It quickly becomes a solid ball of cells, the morula. Then that morula reorganizes into a hollow sphere, the blastocyst.
And the blastocyst is important because
it already has 2 distinct parts. The inner cell mass that's going to become the embryo proper, and the outer layer, the trophoblast, that will form the placenta and membranes.
specialization happens early.
Incredibly early. And all this dividing and reorganizing is happening fast while the embryo is still moving. Around day 5, it hatches, breaks free from the zona pellucida.
Sheds its shell.
Right. Then, around day 6, this free blastocyst needs to find a home. It attaches to and burrows into the uterine lining, the endometrium. That's implantation.
And the trophoblast cells are key here.
Absolutely. They proliferate, differentiate, secrete enzymes to help burrow in and start making hormones like HCG, the pregnancy signal.
Okay, so it's implanted. Now what? We're into week 2.
Week 2 begins. Around day 7 or 8, that inner cell mass differentiates into 2 layers. Our first proper embryonic blueprint.
2 layers.
The epiblast, which is the upper or dorsal layer, and the hypoblast, the lower or ventral layer. Together, they form a flat, 2-layered disc, the bilaminar embryonic disc.
The first flat blueprint.
Exactly. And at the same time, crucial support structures form outside the embryo itself. The amnion starts creating the amniotic cavity, that protective fluid-filled sac.
Like a personal swimming pool.
Kind of. And the hypoblast forms the primary yolk sac, important for early nutrition.
But things can go wrong here, right? With implantation.
They definitely can. And understanding these abnormalities is vital. Ectopic pregnancy is a major one implantation outside the uterus, usually the fallopian tube. It's dangerous, can be life-threatening.
Because the tube can't support a growing pregnancy.
Right. Or you can have a molar pregnancy where only the trophoblast develops, no embryo forms. Shows how precise this process needs to be.
Okay, that's week 2. Then comes week 3, which sounds like a big one.
Week 3 is arguably the most critical week. This is where the embryo transforms from that flat 2-layered disc, adds a 3rd dimension, and really starts laying down the foundations for all future body parts. This is gastrulation.
Gastrulation. It sounds important.
It's the single most important event in early development. It converts the bilaminar disc into a trilaminar embryonic disc. 3 primary germ layers. Ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm.
Adding that middle layer.
Exactly. And this isn't just adding layers, it's the start of morphogenesis, the actual shaping of the body.
How does it happen?
It starts around day 15. A thickening appears on the disc, called the primitive streak. This sets up the head-tail axis, the left-right symmetry. Then epiblast cells start migrating into this streak.
They move downwards.
They undergo a change, detach, and migrate inward. It's called invagination, and the order is crucial.
Right.
The very first cells to migrate displace the hypoblast underneath. They become the innermost layer, the endoderm.
Got it. Inner layer first.
Then, the next wave of cells migrates and fills the space between the epiblast and the new endoderm. This becomes the middle layer, the mesoderm.
The filling in the sandwich.
Pretty much. And the epiblast cells that remain on the surface, they become the outermost layer, the ectoderm.
Ecto, meso, endo. The 3 layers.
The 3 fundamental germ layers. And importantly, cells migrating from the very tip of the primitive streak form the notochord.
The notochord.
A solid rod of cells that runs down the midline. It's a crucial signaling center, especially for inducing the nervous system to form from the ectoderm above it.
So it's like unfolding that 2-layer blueprint, then folding it back with a 3rd layer, the mesoderm, stuffed in the middle, creating the inner plumbing, the structural steel, and the outer shell.
That's a fantastic way to visualize it. Endoderm for plumbing, mesoderm for structure and movement, ectoderm for the outer shell and controls.
So, okay, this is huge. Every single part of you listening, your skin, your brain, your stomach lining, it all came from one of these 3 layers.
Absolutely. It's the fundamental fate map established right here in Rift 3. Let's break it down.
Okay. Ectoderm. Outer layer.
Right. Think outer shield and control center. The surface ectoderm gives you skin, hair, nails, the lens of your eye. The neural tube, which forms from ectoderm folding inwards thanks to the notochord signal, becomes your brain and spinal cord, even your retina.
Wow, brain and skin from the same layer.
Yep. And then neural crest cells, which sort of pinch off as the neural tube forms, are amazing. They migrate all over, forming your peripheral nerves, autonomic nervous system, pigment cells in your skin, even parts of your adrenal glands.
So ectoderm is skin and the entire nervous system, basically.
Your outer covering and your complete electrical and computer system.
Okay. Middle layer. Mesoderm.
The movers, shakers, internal builders. This forms all 3 types of musculoskeletal, cardiac, smooth, plus bone, cartilage, all connective tissue, your blood vessels, blood cells, kidneys, ureters, ovaries, testes.
So structure, movement, plumbing like blood vessels, internal organs.
Your entire structural support, movement systems, blood supply, heart, kidneys. The works, really.
Got it. And finally, endoderm. Inner layer.
Inner linings and factories. This forms the epithelial lining of your entire respiratory tree from trachea down to alveoli, and the lining of almost your whole GI tract, plus the liver, gallbladder, pancreas, bladder, urethra, thymus gland.
So all the linings of the internal tubes and the big glandular organs like the liver and pancreas?
Exactly. your essential inner linings, processing plants, and internal factories. And the precision of this mapping in week 3 is incredible. It sets the stage for everything that follows.
And if gastrulation goes wrong?
You can get serious problems, things like caudal dysgenesis, where not enough mesoderm forms in the lower body leading to limb or urogenital issues, or sacrococcygeal teratomas, tumors from leftover primitive streak cells, surprisingly common in newborns. It highlights how critical this precise orchestration is.
Wow. Okay, we have really gone on a deep dive today. From those specialized internal surfaces
Serous and mucous membranes.
to that mind-blowing week-by-week journey from a single cell to the beginnings of a complex embryo. It's almost unbelievable, the precision involved.
And understanding these foundational concepts, the design of membranes, the sequence of fertilization, the importance of gastrulation, it really does provide the essential context for all the anatomy and physiology you'll build on later.
These aren't just isolated facts.
Not at all. They're deeply interconnected principles.
Our hope really is that these metaphors, these anchors we've talked about, the culinary highway, the mucociliary escalator, the drawbridge,
The dividing snowball.
right, that they'll stick
Yeah.
with you, make these complex topics feel, well, less intimidating and more intuitive. Remembering those images can unlock so much detail.
Hopefully make recall a bit easier.
So what's the big takeaway for you, our listener, as you continue your studies?
I think it's seeing how the smallest changes right at the beginning in development, or even subtle ongoing issues with these protective internal linings, can have profound, lifelong impacts on health. It just underscores the incredible interconnectedness and, frankly, the delicate balance of our biology
Sure.
right from the very first moments.
A delicate balance, established incredibly early. It makes you wonder, what new connections will you discover in your next deep dive?